is it killer on the loose, folks?
You think it's him, don't you? Let's move.
Do you know what it feels like to be stalked? To be the prey?
No, I don't.
I hope you never do.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 horror film Bloodline Killer. The film is directed by Ant Novakovic and it stars Shawnee Smith, Taryn Manning, Drew Morleen, Tyrese Gibson and Bruce Dern. Right, the film follows a family. We've got Shawnee Smith as the mother. She's got two grown-up sons, and this one fateful Halloween night, their family is preyed upon by a masked killer called the Skeleton. He kills the father, gets away, supposedly, and it kind of jumps then to exactly 1 year later. The family's still picking up the pieces. The mother can't move on. One of the sons is basically got PTSD because he was injured in the attack. But however, their nightmare isn't over as the Skeleton Killer has returned to seek out this family and also kill anybody that gets in his way. Right, what are my thoughts on Bloodline Killer? Well, if this is, if this sounds at all remotely anything like, every slasher film you've kind of ever heard of, then you won't be kind of far wrong with that assessment. This is basically a bargain basement version of Halloween. Is probably the biggest compliment I can pay this film. You've got a silent masked killer with seemingly superhuman powers, because you see him get shot a number of times in the film and he just gets up and kind of carries on. He's got a little bit more of a fleshed out past, well, certainly if you kind of ignore the Rob Zombie movie in regards to Michael Myers. This killer here, Skeleton, they kind of try and connect him, and again, this just makes it for me more of a Halloween clone. They try and connect him to this family, especially Shawnee Smith's character, and you get kind of some flashbacks of when she was a teenager, and when the Skeleton, this guy that's turned into this killer, was a teenager, and it kind of hints that they knew each other and something's gone on. It never really fully puts all that to bed, in regards to the connection, but, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to kind of figure out that there is a fairly significant connection going on. So much of the film really is filled with, you've got Shawnee Smith's character having therapy, and the therapist is Bruce Dern, so he's only in for a couple of scenes. She's trying to, build a relationship with her two sons. You've got her two sons kind of at loggerheads with each other, which fills up a few scenes here and there. You've got one of the sons that's trying to patch up an old relationship that's been damaged because of what's gone on with these killings in the past. And then you've got this killer himself. I think he's called Jason, i.e. the Skeleton Killer. He's got someone looking out for him as well, Taryn Manning, who is related to him, and she's trying to protect him, but in actual fact she's doing, when you watch the film, it's facepalm stuff. She's actually doing far more harm than good. She thinks she can kind of control him and make him better and all this kind of stuff by injecting him in the neck to try and just keep him calm, I suppose. So she kind of makes things a hell of a lot more worse. And then you've got Tyrese Gibson's character, who plays Detective Cyphers, who offers nothing here in this film. Now, I'm not here to massively criticise the acting here in this film, because for the most part I think it's half decent, to be honest, and there's an half decent slasher film underneath all this unoriginality. But when it comes to Tyrese Gibson, his acting style, it's like it's like watching a garden slug if it decided to become an actor. He just can't emote, and he can't speak any faster than, well, I don't know. He speaks so slowly. You're willing him to get to the end of the sentence. And like I say, I'm not a big fan of the Fast and the Furious films, so I can't honestly comment on his acting style in many of those films, even though I've seen a few of them. Let's be honest, Tyrese Gibson is not the star of those movies. But everything I've seen him in, and I've seen him in some fairly low budget films these last couple of years, he's been appalling. And I don't know if it's a lack of talent or if it's just a lack of interest. Either way, he, for me, is the worst thing in this film. And he just plays a typical dumb cop, to be fair, who's only really there, as with many other the cops and many of the other of the characters in this film. They're only really there, to get, sliced and diced, I suppose. So a lot of your choice whether you're going to watch this film will depend on your levels of tolerance for, a low quality clone of better slasher films. It doesn't really have what I could describe as memorable characters, because they all feel like, distant cousins of characters you've seen again in better slashers. The story isn't overly interesting. Again, you've seen it done in better slashers. There's nothing here that stands out in this film as being different. And goodness me, if you're going to make one of these films, a slasher film, you'd better stand out in the crowd. You'd better have something going for you. You better be original, even if it's really, really original kills or really graphic kills, or just something, anything that's going to make people talk about your movie or stand up and take notice, or even fans of the genre, enjoying it for certain aspects. But for me, there's nothing here that's going to get anybody excited about this film. The kills are, I would only really describe them as tame. There's very little in the way of gore, and it's fairly dull for the most part. There was a handful of killings earlier on in the film, and then it kind of turns into full on stop mode at the end. But by that point, you've really, really checked out mentally. I certainly had. So this is not a slasher film that I could recommend unless, like I say, you're a die-hard fan of this subgenre in the horror genre. But if it does sound interesting to you, if you're interested in checking this film out, there is a good chance that you might enjoy it more than me. I don't think this is a badly made film. I just think it's a very, very generic slasher film that doesn't offer anything different. But thanks for watching anyway. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you found it useful. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.